Good morning, everyone. Hello to those who are enjoying their afternoons. My name is Joe Nakamoto, and I'm just double checking that the stream is live. I believe we are live now. Hello, hello. Just double checking. Still showing the loading screen. That's not good, is it? Beautiful. There we are. Now we're live. Okay, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon to those of you in the Eastern Hemisphere. My name is Joe Nakamoto, and this is my show, my Talking Head series, where we get to know the news, we get to know what's going on in the Bitcoin world, and I try to brighten your day with a little bit of optimism and positivity. And I also share with you a wonderful guest who's doing something cool and exciting in the Bitcoin space. Today is the 3rd of November. It is 11:20 a.m. in London and Lisbon and Porto and places on that side of the world. And what is the mempool saying? Well, let's take a quick look. The mempool, or memory pool, as it is sometimes known, is a wonderful space that I like to hang out in. And it looks like this. It is a beautiful invention. A lot of people prefer it if you put it this way. So we're going to put it that way instead, left to right. I don't know why I like it right to left, but I do. And what we can see right now is that we are on the 922,040th Bitcoin block since Bitcoin was created on January 3rd, 2009. And over the weekend, we actually celebrated Bitcoin White Paper Day, which was the day that the Bitcoin White Paper was released to the world. You can see that the price or the cost of sending Bitcoin in the next block is currently about 2 sats per VByte, which works out at about 30 cents based on a SegWit or a segregated witness transaction, which is slightly more expensive than usual. We can see that, as per usual, the average block time is 10 minutes, and we are expecting a 6.31% difficulty adjustment increase in the next difficulty adjustment, which is in 1,288 blocks, so in about 8 days, or on the November the 12th. A 6% difficulty adjustment increase is large, which implies that a lot of miners are coming online, and a lot of miners are mining blocks slightly faster than they're supposed to, which is on average 10 minutes. And then, we can see that Mara, Foundry, Brains, Secpool, Antpool, lots of American miners have been busy recently mining blocks, and we have some Chinese companies as well. Don't ask me how the Chinese companies are mining when Bitcoin is, of course, illegal in China. Okie doke. So we have had a quick look at the mempool. We've got some interesting blocks going on here. By the way, these things here are giant either consolidations, for example, lots of UTXOs being combined together, or they can be data. Although you could say that consolidation is technically a conglomeration of data. I'm going to see if anyone's hanging out with us today. If you are, please let us know where you're watching from. Please say hello. We have Mr. BTC saying hello, Mr. Mike. And we also have fish saying hey. What do you call a fish with no eyes? You call him fish. Sorry, that's a really bad dad joke. And Erhan, my former boss. Hello, Erhan. How are you? Are you tuning in from Turkey today? How is the weather there? Lovely to see you, mate. I am. Oh, we've got Mark, who's coming in from the Isle of Wight as well, a beaut part of the British Isles. It is part of the UK as well, isn't it? Yeah, it is United Kingdom. Sorry. Okay. So the plan for today is to get on a friend of mine called Roxy, who is the director of Plan B Network, and to talk about some of the goings on in Europe and in Taipei, in Taiwan, as Plan B Network have a big footprint in Taiwan, a part of the world that I've never been to, but I would love to go to. But before we get there, quick check-in with the price, which is doing some wonderfully dumpy things recently. We dropped well below the 200-day moving average, which is currently 109,000. And when we drop below the 200-day moving average confidently, we usually stay there for a little bit of time, maybe as much as 6 weeks. Why do I know that, or why do I say that with confidence? Because if we look at let's go to a daily. If we look at every time we've dropped under the 200-day moving average over the past, 2 years or so, we have stayed there for quite some time. For example, here we drop below the 200-day moving average and we stay there for 6 weeks. Here we drop below the 200-day moving average and we stay there for 8 weeks. Here we drop below the 200-day moving average and we stay there for 3 months. So now that we've confidently stayed under the 200-day moving average, I think we are going to be chilling here for quite some time. So in my opinion, we're not going to really expect fireworks or anything until Christmas, where hopefully we'll have some more action. But until that time, it's more chop solidation or more consolidation, in my humble opinion, as someone who doesn't trade, but just finds the price an interesting metric to look at and to talk about. Those of you who are watching from around the world, please do keep dropping in your comments. It's always nice to hear from you. For example, Erhan, the Karen man, is cheering for me wherever he is in the world. Very sweet. Cool. I used to work for Erhan at Cointelegraph, and he is a fantastic bloke to work for and to hang out with and to, spend time with. So I'm going to share a few tweets that caught my attention over the past couple of days before we go on to discussing our guest for the week, who is Roxy. The first thing I wanted to share was just something I thought was kind of cool. It's from Archie, who is the guy behind Bitcoin Archive, although I know he has a few people working for him now. And it's that on the 31st of October, the Bitcoin white paper was displayed in Los Angeles on a great big billboard. Quite nice to see. I'm sure that any passers-by had no idea what was going on. And, the white paper is a nice piece of work, but it's not particularly aesthetic. So I doubt people were looking up from their cars and thinking, oh my God, this is incredible. But yeah, a little bit of nice news to start your day. And then I also wanted to share this meme, which was from Swiss Hodler, a friend of mine who is originally from Finland, but he now lives in Switzerland. And his advice is on how to become free. You can either vote harder, you can change other people, or you can just buy Bitcoin, or in my case, or in your case, earn Bitcoin. Because in earning and through buying Bitcoin, you actually change yourself, and that helps you to become more free. So get out there and buy Bitcoin, earn Bitcoin. Not financial advice, of course. I don't think I can say that publicly in the UK, but it's a good thing I'm not in the UK. Another tweet I saw that was particularly interesting was from Watcher Guru, which, let's be honest, is a total spam account, brings up all sorts of nonsense. It said, reportedly, that less than 7% of the global population is invested in crypto. I'm calling BS on this. I think it's less than 0.7% of the total population is invested in crypto. And of that 0.7%, I reckon 0.07% takes it seriously. And even then, those are wild numbers. What is 0.7% of the total global population? It's like 70 million people, isn't it? It's a lot of people still. And so to think that there are 70 million people doing crypto, or hopefully Bitcoin stuff, is wild. But yeah, Watch a Guru, not a serious account, tweeting out all sorts of nonsense. And yet this kind of thing gets 1.5 million views. Quite impressive. Okay, and then the final thing I wanted to share on screen with you today is a post from Alan Turing, one of the most complex and sadly misunderstood figures in British military history. But his story and this tweet here about this story, which I haven't actually verified, so I'm sorry, we can just discuss this as gossip rather than actual fact. He, if those of you aren't aware of Alan Turing, then he is the guy who cracked a lot of military codes during World War II and was pivotal in the Allies' success during the war because they were just so good at cracking codes. And apparently he feared losing his life savings if Germany invaded Britain. So he used the money to buy 2 90-kilogram silver bars, and he buried them in the woods and wrote down the location in code. Later on, when he wanted to dig up the silver bars, he was unable to break his own coded message, and he never found them. What does that sound like to you, dear viewers? Does that sound like losing your Bitcoin seed phrase, or what is affectionately known as a Bitcoin boating accident? So I wanted to use this prompt and this historic figure. Don't know if it's a true story. I'm really sorry about that. We should probably fact check it. But I wanted to use this to remind you all of just how important Bitcoin self-custody is. And I reckon that Alan Turing, if he was alive today, he would probably be a Bitcoiner. What do you guys think? So There was a quick question from the audience. What's this guy saying? So it's from Separate X. He says, hey Joe, got a cheeky question. Do you remember who the girl was in the Poland video that you did asking what Bitcoin is? Do I remember who the girl was? No, I'm sorry. I meet lots of people in the wild when doing these kind of things, and I don't remember them all. I'm sorry. Why are you asking? Why is it that you'd like to ask about this girl? And also, Loud2 Thinking has brought out a great comment that 90 kilograms of silver in today's prices would be $280,000 or 2.5 Bitcoin. Decent amount of silver / Bitcoin / dollars. It's pretty cool, hey? And also, ultimately, it is a really important reminder to take your custody seriously, because this man, Alan Turing, would have been able to find his silver and live long and healthily. And the final thing I wanted to bring up is a tweet from a friend of mine in the UK who says, he's brought up this article from Rachel Reeves, who apparently is considering a 20% tax on assets of people deciding to leave the UK. I left the UK a number of years ago now, and I have more and more conversations with people who are asking me, hey mate, what's it like in Portugal? What's it like to be nomadic? What's it like to, have different tax jurisdictions? Like, how stressful is it? What's it like? And I've noticed in the past 6 months that I'm getting a bit more interest than usual, and a lot more people are taking me more seriously than usual. And it's alarming to see, because unrealized gains or a exit tax is quite a unique thing. A lot of countries do have it, of course, but the idea that the UK is now bringing in might spur on, it might have the inverse effect, because governments often do this, right? They get meddling and then they make a mistake, or they think that their outcome is going to be what they've planned for, but the incentive misalign. And say, for example, they're trying to tax 20% on assets of people deciding to leave the UK. That might actually encourage more people to leave in the next 6 months. So they don't get taxed on their assets, and it will leave an even bigger hole in the budget. So it could cause the opposite reaction. But yeah, what if I don't tell them I'm leaving and I just go on a really, really long holiday after selling all my UK assets, is what Rich jokes about. Rich, that is not a good idea, mate. HMRC will probably try to find a way to get after you. HMRC, by the way, is like the IRS. Okay, and they are a few tweets that caught my eye this morning, a few news articles that caught my eyes this morning. In like global news, there was some awful stuff happening in the UK, but I don't really want to talk about that, because I want to talk about why Bitcoin is sick. And who better to talk about why Bitcoin is sick than with Roxy, who is the head of Plan B Network. And just before I bring him on today, I just want to explain that Plan B Network is a free, open source, totally easy to use educational platform. It looks like this. It is free, totally free. And oh my God, they have a new website. How cool is that? So I'm going to quickly show you their new website. I have not seen this before. How cool is this? So yeah, this is what their new website looks like. And it's all about scaling Bitcoin adoption and turning the world orange. If you have any Bitcoin questions, any Bitcoin ideas, you can come on here. You can go to the academy. You can start taking some classes. You can do this all for free, for total free. You don't need to do a paid course from, I don't know, no offense to Matthew Cratter, but like Matthew Cratter or Natalie Brunel or any of these educators. This is all free, totally free. And Roxy is also a friend of mine. He is based in France, ? And he's European. And also, I'm going to bring up the question from Loud2 Thinking very shortly. But in the meantime, let's welcome Roxy on. Roxy, how are you today, matey? Good. Where are you in the world? Are you based in France? I forget sometimes. Travel, nice, man, nice. Don't dox. So I wanted to chat to you today about all sorts of things. One of them was the Lugano Plan B Forum, also about sort of Bitcoin adoption in Europe and also worldwide. And then I'm sure we're going to take some questions for the audience. For example, I don't know if you can see this, but we've already had a question about Zcash. Ew. Oh, and apparently there's no voice from the guest. Thank you, Han. Is your...
Test 1, 2, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm not sure that the audience can. That's interesting. I'm going to hit mute and then unmute. And then let's unmute you. All good now. Okay, we're back in.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone. Super.
Can you hear me, audience?
Oh, now it's super loud. Perfect. Now it's working. Thank you so much to the live stream for helping us out. So yeah, Roxy, who are you? What do you do? Why the hell did I bring you on today?
Hello, everyone. My name is Roxy. Thank you, Joe, for having me. I'm a French Bitcoin educator, but I'm mostly doing it worldwide. My mission is really to educate as many people as possible, trying to aim for the billion. And with Plan B Network, we're basically building a giant Bitcoin university. So we're connecting partners. We're building an e-learning platform with more than 40 courses now, everything translated in every languages, everything free and open source, trying to basically spread educational knowledge through a centralized maintained database. So every 2 weeks, we add new courses. We have tutorials about everything in the industry, and we try to clean it. Everything is on GitHub, is easy to redeploy, and we distribute it to every Bitcoin communities, schools, educator, or passionate person that want to learn more about it. And in general, I like beer. I'm a Frenchie, and I like Bitcoin.
Very good. He likes beer. He likes Bitcoin. He's a Frenchie. Lovely. And one of the things that I always found amazing when interviewing people in different languages or different communities, different cultures, is that the Bitcoin space online is very English, in terms of language, and then it's also incredibly American. And if you're caught up in that bubble, you can sometimes think, oh, well, then it's just for Americans. It's just for English language speakers. And yet there are huge communities of Bitcoiners who we don't know of, we don't know about. We're never going to interact with them because they're all interacting in their own languages, their own native languages. And yet, yeah, we've got a Frenchie in the chat saying salut right now. So salut to you too, said 409. And it's fascinating for me because it makes you realize that in order to have mass adoption, we need Bitcoin in lots of languages. What would you say on Plan B Network are the languages which are the most sort of consumed, or is it French and Spanish? Is it Chinese?
Chinese, Vietnamese quite a lot, then Japanese, obviously Italian, French, German too. Or basically those ones, and of course English as the one of the most. We really do try to make a big focus on translation, so everything is then translated from text, image, but also video with AI, and we have a big community of contributors reviewing those AI translation to make it really good. So if you want to contribute, or if your language is not on the platform, go for it. We go for the main one, but also niche ones. So we are translating in very in local dialect of African community, for example. So the goal is really for anyone to be able to get in, even if you don't speak English at all. So we aim for every language of the world. And if it's not here yet, please join us and translate, contribute. It helps.
Nice. And the key thing is that it is totally, utterly, butterly free.
And open source, Joe. So one of the craziest thing we had is that one of the big e-learning platform of Vietnam that has 2 million users took all of our Vietnamese translated courses on Bitcoin and dropped it on their platform. So from 0 to 1 week, they integrated everything, and they had a new crypto section, and it was all of our courses on Lightning Network theory, on RGB, nothing about crypto, but they just branded crypto. And that was the beauty of open source and translation, is that they had nothing, they took everything we had, and now lots of people there get access to that knowledge, even though they're not on Plan B Network. It doesn't matter. They are learning. That's what matters.
Wow. Okay. I mean, and this is effectively, this is a call out to anyone watching. If you have a community, if you have a way of sharing Bitcoin knowledge, do use the Plan B Network resources. It is there to be distributed for free. And as Roxy says, it is totally open source. But and this is also why I'm happy to shill Plan B Network, because it's not like it's a corporate capitalist enterprise which is trying to shill referral codes. It is shilling free Bitcoin education, which is something that I'm pretty sure everyone on this live stream cares about. You'll have someone in your life that you want to take Bitcoin a little bit more seriously. Okay. But I'm still wearing a wristband from Plan B Forum because I'm apparently lazy and unhygienic. But you recently had sort of helped the organization in the hosting of Plan B Forum, which is arguably Europe's largest Bitcoin only celebration. Maybe it's between that and Bitcoin Amsterdam, but Bitcoin Amsterdam can be quite shitcoiny, so it's hard to tell. How was the Plan B Lugano Forum for you? What should people watching, what should they know about Lugano Plan B Forum?
Yeah, for sure. So this year we hit a record number. So there were more than 4,000 tickets sold. So very happy with the lineup. Plan B Lugano Forum is an entire week of event. We started with Plan B weeks, where we organized around 20 different type of sub-conference, sub-events, some summits, stuff like that, workshop too. Then the conference was 2 days of intensive conferences, more than 4 stage, masterclass, workshop, politics, finance, every topic regarding Bitcoin. So it's a really cool conference. I think Prague is also very big, but it's for sure out of the biggest one out there. In general, it really depends on what you like. All the replays should be available on our YouTube. So Plan B Lugano on YouTube, I think, and on Plan B Network we are retransferring them, of course. Pick the topic you like, go through our search bar, type anything, and you will find the right resources. Of course, if you want to do everything, you're gonna have like more than 1 week of live stream, because it was 2 full days times the amount of a stage. It was quite packed. But the beauty of that conference is also the networking. So if you missed it, come next year, because it's also about meeting people, talking outside of the stage. Don't go only listen to speakers, even though Joe is an amazing host. For sure, go watch him. But having that networking with other people, being able to talk and discover smaller projects, see the passion of other entrepreneurship, building on Bitcoin, learning from other community builders. I think this is what makes a Bitcoin conference good. And that's why you need to physically move there. It's an experiment. And if you've never done it, we have Lugano Plan B El Salvador coming in January. And if not, there's many other conferences around the world. You can find them on planb.academy. So go for one.
Yeah, I can highly recommend, particularly Plan B El Salvador, which is quite the celebration. It's good fun. The difference between Plan B El Salvador and Plan B Lugano is that Plan B Lugano, you spend all your money. Plan B El Salvador, you have a smile on your face at the end of it. Lugano is, of course, quite an expensive place to live. And it's a great place to live if you are an OG with loads of coins. So I'm sure there are some people with loads of coins listening. If you're looking for somewhere to live, somewhere to invest your time, your energy, Lugano is the place in Europe. That or Madeira, Madeira is also a really good one. Or just build up your own local community and make shit happen and do it with Plan B. What were you going to say? Sorry, Roxy. You look like you were.
No, I was going to say absolutely. And if you need help to relocate your company in Lugano, feel free to reach. We try to help. This year we did a Shark Tank, so it was like a TV show. Joe was actually the host of the final, trying to bring more entrepreneurship and help local startups or Bitcoin startups in general. So Lugano is expensive, but it is trying to get there when it comes to business opportunity. So it's also a good fertile land for Bitcoiners. But yeah, it's Swiss Italian people.
Yeah. It is very fertile land because the climate is very dry, then very wet, then very dry, then very wet. It's a great place to live. Okay, and then let's firstly address one of the questions from the comments. Good morning to Max first. Good to see you, mate. I wanted to address a question that I saw further up in the chat. Here it is. Okay, so this is from Lautu in Bali. And he said, what's your take on the core versus not subscription for Bitcoin? We've actually covered this quite a lot, so I'm going to skip that. But basically, my TLDR is I think it's going to eventually fizzle out. But the main thing you should do is run a node and make sure it's connected to your wallet. Like that, I think Rogsy would agree. Is that fair? Yeah. And then could it be what's driving the adoption of Zcash and its BTC values? And can we rest easy knowing Bitcoin is in good hands with the devs? So let's address the Zcash thing first. Because within your question there is an assumption that Zcash adoption is going up. And I'm not sure that is, because I know the Zcash price is going up in dollar terms, or has done for the past 4 weeks. But is its adoption going up? Impossible to say, literally impossible to say, because it is a privacy coin, right? There is no way of actually quantifying it. And its Bitcoin values, does Zcash have Bitcoin values? I'm not sure it does. It's a privacy coin, right? And it was
it's another token, so it has nothing to do with Bitcoin. I would say adoption wise, as much as Monero, not even it's really hard to say. At least in our circle, we really don't see that adoption. I don't think in the real world we see a lot of adoption for privacy coins in general. It's very niche to some degree, and it has no correlation to the Bitcoin value. So I don't think any of those tokens can move Bitcoin significantly, or at least be attached to that assumption. Yeah.
So Bitrefill, for example, is a great place for all sorts of crypto tokens to be turned into real world stuff. You've got, let me just show it on the screen actually. So for those unfamiliar, Bitrefill, gift card company, right? And what they do all the time is they show huge swathes of like data. And this data is really useful in terms of quantifying adoption. And you can pay, for example, in where's their list of cryptos? For example, if I go onto like an Amazon gift card, right? I can pay, I'm going to do €100 amount, checkout, and I'm going to go just continue to payment. Let's do fuckoff@gmail.com and see if it lets me through. So look here, you can pay in Bitcoin, Lightning or Bitcoin, ETH on various strange chains, USDC, USDT, Sol, Sui, Litecoin, Doge, Dash, blah, 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 blah. All of these things are like, this is one way that I sort of quantify adoption. And when you try to see, oh, is Zcash going to be added here soon? Not that this is like the litmus test, but it's just one way of showing, okay, people are using this thing. There's no Monero on here. There's no Zcash. There's no Doge. Is there Doge? There was Doge, yeah.
Yeah, Doge.
And people are using it because the CEO of Bitrefill did a talk in Lugano about what payment options people are using. And there is still some people using Doge as money to buy gift cards for, say, an Amazon voucher or a petrol gas station voucher. So like, this is one way of saying, okay, like crypto is a currency, right? It's in the name, cryptocurrency. But if people aren't actually using it at all as a currency, then what is it? It's just a token, isn't it? And I think that Zcash, for many people, is just a token. It is just a pump and dump. It is just a way of going to $10 or to 10K or whatever it is. But in terms of like real meaningful adoption, I've never, ever heard of anyone asking to pay for something to use Zcash. What about you, Roxy?
No, the same. And the people that are going to use it is going to be online, not in the real world, to basically sell it to get something else. So there is no circular economy about Zcash. There is no let's start let's bootstrap something with Zcash. And it's the same for 99.99 of all the other cryptocurrency, except the very few at the top that may have something going on. There is no treasury company on Zcash. There is no, and yeah, it's really hard to quantify. But if it was big, there will be so many more signs that we will know it's big. And the fact there is not any of those signs, you can basically know it's like another top 20 coin anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I see this having in some more pumps, maybe. Some people will make some money and then eventually it will just keep crashing lower and lower. But the key thing to look at for Zcash is the Zcash price measured in Bitcoin terms, because that sort of reassures you that you haven't missed the boat. This is just an after pump thing. The second question I wanted to address to you, though, Roxy, was about the Bitcoin values, because a lot of people are saying buy Zcash because it is the privacy coin and it's very hard to use Bitcoin privately, right? Like, what do you say to these people that would address this question to you, for example, in a class that you're giving or in one of the courses that you put together? Like, is Bitcoin truly private money?
So no, obviously it's not private money. It's absolutely anonymous. No, you have to make it work. So it's not that easy. I'd say that today we get way more Bitcoin privacy on higher layer. Lightning is helping a lot, and then Cashew or Fedi, all of those different type of solution makes it so much easier. So today there will always be that misconception, but it's the beauty of it that Bitcoin is both private and not private. So you can be fully transparent if you want, or you can really try to go non-KYC and go hard in your coin management, use other layers, and really hide yourself in the masses. We actually have one courses on Bitcoin privacy that go really in depth into your heuristic, chain analysis, and all the trade-off. And we are starting a research paper with the students about Lightning, privacy on Lightning. So we do cover the subject quite extensively. It's very important that you maintain your privacy on Bitcoin, that you know the best practices. And it's not as easy. There's the super meme of like doing something super complicated, going through like lots of obstacle to get private. It's true that Bitcoin is not the easiest, but it is doable. And as long as you don't start with basic KYC solution, is already the biggest step. So don't talk about your savings. Don't use KYC solution. Learn what is the best practices when using Bitcoin. So don't reuse addresses. Obviously, connect to a node. Connect your wallet to the node. It's not only running a node; it's also using the node. Try to use good wallet, a good mobile wallet that use privacy by default, like Bull Bitcoin with CoinJoin at default or stuff like that, and try to discover the new layers, and you will see that they do solve quite a lot of, it's not mistakes, but designed that Bitcoin has.
Nice. I'm just going to write those down and put them as a comment. So the first thing is no KYC. So don't use exchanges, which is annoying because exchanges are probably the easiest way to get hold of Bitcoin. And if you are going to use KYC, then use CoinJoin, use ways of sort of making it more private. And then you can also use second layers. So for example, it's very, very hard to track payments on Lightning or on Liquid or on Arc, which are all different payment channels. So if you're going to spend and you want to buy, a few beers or whatever it is, then you don't want to do an on-chain transaction. You certainly don't want to repeat using an address that you received to. So yeah, there are different ways to use Bitcoin privately, but no one is saying that Bitcoin is a privacy coin. I think people that are saying that have misunderstood what Bitcoin is all about. Okay, I think we've addressed those 2 points. I did just want to bring up some visuals to back up what we're saying here. Notably that, the price when measured in certain frames looks appealing. We've got Zcash here at $391, whereas just 1 month ago it was at 148. So yeah, a lot of people have sat on a 4x. They put in $1,000 and they now have $4,000. Good for them. The weird thing though is that if you zoom out and you compare it in Bitcoin terms, and this here is on the Zcash price in BTC terms, you can see here there is a huge candlestick up to the right. Zcash to Bitcoin is now 0.003. Okay, but if you zoom out,
The shitcoin pattern.
yeah, I can't actually zoom out anymore. That's weird. Oh, I can zoom out more. Okay, so it was 0.03, right? At its peak, it was 0.05 and then 0.03. And even back in 2018, it was 0.0004. So it's done well these past 4 weeks. Don't get me wrong, but it's never ever going to get up to these highs that it was in 2017 or in 26 late 2017, in 2018, late 2019. It's got a long, long way to go. Basically, is what I'm saying.
And I think just looking at that chart, you can basically anticipate that someone is dumping his bag. Like at that point, people that have been waiting for so long, people that are tired, that's an exit liquidity kind of bump, or maybe not, but it's very high probability that some people are taking that opportunity, that market manipulation, because going crazy like this is obviously a non-natural adoption, as we discussed it, to exit, because at some point, what is Zcash going to do in the next 10 years? Not price wise, but product wise.
Exactly. That is, yeah, it's unnatural adoption, and we can't really talk to how much adoption there is because it's very hard to know. So I don't know. Personally, I'd be like, stay clear, just earn Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, and do it in a non-KYC, in a privacy-centric way. Okay, I think the last question was, is Bitcoin in good hands with the devs? This is something that a lot of people are concerned about currently. Is Bitcoin in good hands with the devs, particularly as we see some really respected OGs like Nick Szabo, who was the author of BitGold, or Adam Back, who was the author of Hashcash, who's noted on the white paper. These are people that people really look up to. What are they? What do these disagreements mean for the Bitcoin space? And should we be concerned? Like, is Bitcoin in good hands currently? What do you think, Roxy? Are we in a safe space with Bitcoin? Can we rest on our laurels and just, chill out?
No, I think in general, people have a hard time understanding how the protocol is maintained and who has the right to change. And so there's a lot of noise on Twitter. You will have big name, as you said, Adam Back, Szabo, or Luke and the stuff, mechanics, etc. But the reality is that the development of Bitcoin is hundreds of devs all around the world. Some paid by private companies, some paid by SATs, by grants. There is not one maintainer, but 5. There is a very large amount of core contributors. You may disagree with them, but they are not in the biggest bad faith to destroy Bitcoin. And if they were, everything they do is open source in the plain sites. That's also why there is so much contribution, is because you can see their work. It's really hard to become a core dev protocol developer. Try to teach them, and there is more blood, let's say more youth coming, and there is also a retirement from the previous core dev community. I'd say that this is something like a metrics you should be following, or you need to be aware. Is like, okay, what is the skill gap between those previous core dev and the new one, and the new one? Do we lose some kind of knowledge gap? Is there some things that we don't have today that we used to have back in the day? In general, the protocol of Bitcoin is really stable. Today we have Lightning and the other layers on top. So the shift has moved. If you want to innovate, there's other possibilities. So I would say that I'm not scared that Bitcoin is going to die because of the core dev. I'm not scared that there will be a giant manipulation to destroy Bitcoin from the dev environment. Do we want more core dev independent? Yes. Do we need more funding than just Jack Dorsey paying 80% of the dev? Probably. But is it so bad that Bitcoin is going to die? No, I think we are very far away. And like other problem, like centralization of mining, is way more concerning. That core dev drama on Twitter to some degree.
Remember, drama on Twitter is not real drama, okay? It isn't the real world. And when you go to a lot of these Bitcoin conferences and you see the discussions taking place, for example, there was a debate recently between Peter Todd and Jameson Lopp about core versus knots. And to see them hash it out on stage made it realize that a lot of these arguments are kind of entertainment, as opposed to genuine concerns. And I think Rogsy frames it very well there, that, do we need to lose sleep over this? Probably not. Should we be concerned? I think we should always be a little bit concerned. And that's why we should always try to make sure Bitcoin is, strong, safe, secure, decentralized. But the current disagreements are nowhere near as intense as the block size war, for example, or as the inflation bug in 2011, or as WikiLeaks in 2012 or 11, I forget. So yeah, like these are sort of certainly interesting times, and maybe in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, people new to Bitcoin then will ask us about
The knot war.
yeah, what was it like during the core versus knots, bro? Like, how cool was that? Yeah, and we'll have to tell them, what's the point? I don't know. So maybe let's move on for it. Unless you have more comments, in which case, drop them in the chat. This is, of course, the Roxon report. I am on Roxon TV as well as on Joe Nakamoto. And with Rogsy, he is the head of Plan B Network, which is the free open source Bitcoin education space, community, site, resource. Use it. Quick question from Yobi here, which is brilliant. I love it. Will the current Bitcoin pump sustain, or do we have to let the US in at the local low first? Yobi is getting to market manipulation. He's being a bit cheeky. He's asking, do we have to let the US buy their bags of Bitcoin? I mean, I don't think the US is going to buy Bitcoin anytime soon. As far as I understand it, the strategic Bitcoin reserve is a stolen Bitcoin reserve because they have, appropriated funds from confiscations or from theft or whatever it may be, because that's what governments do. They're incredibly good at bending rules to suit their, circumstances. So will we get this pump to sustain? I didn't even realize that the Bitcoin price was pumping. Are we pumping?
Yeah, me neither. Like, where are we? I said we were going down.
I thought, yeah, me too. Let's see. Maybe it's a pump for ants. Let's have a look. No, we are not pumping. We are categorically not pumping. But yeah, what do we think? Is the US keeping the price low so that it can pump its bags? What do you think, Rogsy?
No, yeah, the US is not going to buy. Private funds are buying, or we don't even know, but like I'd say, private actors are not public one, and the US is not stupid. They are not going to buy when they can steal it, and they have a lot to steal from. So they are more protecting what they stole compared to the country that stole what they steal. And I think that's to some degree a very smart move. When it comes to the pump, I guess I'd rather stack my monthly stack at 100 than 125. So it's always a question of do you DCA? Is it the good time? Never a good answer. For sure, that chart looks pretty bad. But if you change like a lot of things, everything is just a matter. Is the bull run over? Who knows? Everyone said the 4 year cycles are down, and then suddenly it's going to drop, and they're going to say, "Oh, it's not done actually." So anyone can make a guess. What I know is that adoption is not at a very high rate, but it is growing locally everywhere in the world. The adoption is more from Wall Street, which is not so good when it comes to decentralization, but it's part of the new changes that we see in the Bitcoin world. Bitcoin is 17, is in a crisis, adolescent crisis to some degree. He's a teenager, and obviously it's harder to understand. We have more regulation, more KYC, more laws. So obviously the dark market money is not what it used to be. Does it mean there's less growth for the future? No. Does it mean Bitcoin is not going to change the world? No. It just means that we are in a different cycle and phase of its growth. That's it.
Exactly. No, well said. And I mean, I'm just putting, to follow the price thing, I put bitfeed.live on the screen because it's just a wonderful resource, which I sometimes put as my screensaver, and it's just nice to look at. You can see there is a new block being formed on average every 10 minutes, regardless of the price. And that is what Bitcoin was made to do. It is money that is just, we can all use with an internet connection and a phone or a computer, whatever it is. You can send money with no middleman. You can save money with no middleman. No one can take it from you. You can self-custody it. Bitcoin is doing exactly what it says on the tin since day one, well, since October 31st, 2008, and it continues to do so in its teenage years. But price stuff, adoption stuff aside, like you cover a lot of communities around the world. What is there a particular part of the world where, for example, you are really like, oh, this is cool. Like, Taiwan, there's now a Bitcoin hub for Plan B. There is a hub in Lugano, as of course we mentioned, El Salvador, Taipei. I'm probably missing Tokyo. Yeah, like a lot of the guys in the chats are actually based in Southeast Asia. We had a guy in Bali, a guy in Thailand. What are you seeing from some of these communities? Are there any cool stories or fun things you can share from some of these spaces around the world?
Yeah, no, in general, there's a global adoption by the communities. That's why I'm the most bullish. It's really bottom-up approach by the plebs on the ground. Indonesia is pretty good, pretty big as a community. Tempo House in Taiwan just started, Tokyo base, and there will be a conference actually in Tokyo end of the month. So all of the spaces are good. Africa too, Tanzania. It's always a leader, someone that wants to make a difference locally, that bootstrap it, and it will do exactly like you did or I did. He will start educating some peers. He will start to create some meetups, and then really try to get it up. Those hubs you describe are currently being opened or are already open. We have Turin coming, El Salvador coming, but also the guy in India with Pleb Strong Together and Bichela. They want to get a hub. Congo, they want to get a hub. Like everywhere, there is those small Bitcoin coffee, those small Bitcoin museum initiative that are being bootstrapped by local people. We try to support them with resources and materials, but we see that same trend everywhere. Even though the adoption is not here, the Bitcoiners passionate to make a living out of it or to switch their fiat job to Bitcoin education, they usually bootstrap that. And at the beginning of the show, you were mentioning that we don't know what happened in the French. For example, back then, 4 years ago, there were almost no Bitcoin communities in France. There were like 2 meetups around France. And then one day on YouTube, I said, hey guys, let's create meetups. And now we have 74 meetups around France that join forces every single month, every single week. We have 4 conferences in France that are like kind of big and conference split around. And same for Germany, like Anders Venzik is massive in Germany. Italian have their community, and Lunaticoin did the same for the Spanish community with 2140. And so there is those big network of Bitcoin communities. And actually, if you've never been, Joe, go to BTC Map communities and you can see that map, because we are the one that we've convinced everyone to go there. So that's the current states of the Bitcoin true adoption, let's say. And it's not BTC Map merchant, it's BTC Map community. So go to stats, stats, and here you go, community leaderboard, and then press map. View community map. The third button.
Community map. Where am I looking here?
The third button. There's direction. Yeah, this one.
I'm just curious to see which is what the leaderboard is. So this the number of locations within a space?
Yeah, they do like a bit of gamification. So it's a merchant verification. It's commitment. It's quite good. But the map really.
So proof of Bitcoin is winning there. I want to check them in a second. Yeah. But let's see the community. Yeah, I have seen this before. Yeah, of course.
All right. And so we really did the big effort to get everyone on board. So the German joined, the French, the Italian, the Spanish one. We got India and Africa too. And all of them are Bitcoin communities that every week, every month, will organize workshops, they will organize meetups, they will do talks, they will go to high school, university, just try to bootstrap it. And that experience is what we replicate with Spendy Network around the world, in India and in Africa, by providing those free open source package that can be retaught. And this map is what makes me bullish. This is how you can monitor if we have more of those little dots spawning around the world. Because every village, even though there's only 5,000 people, if there's a Bitcoiner, he can teach. He can set up a node for the community. He can set up like a non-KYC ATM. He can teach the kids in his district. And everywhere that there is a white spot, if you live there, create a community. We even have courses on how to create a Bitcoin community, and you just go for it. And that's how we will change the world, through like decentralized community bottom-up approach.
Because this all needs to be orange, doesn't it? That's the key thing.
To some degree. but
everywhere.
very small orange dots, not big one. We need
Yeah, true, true.
local, small,
Yeah.
passionate people.
No, absolutely. I mean, there are quite some surprising spaces here. For example, I don't know where that is in the world. Bitcoin Maranhão, a
No
Brazilian
idea.
community. Never heard of that before. Equally, what's going on in Mucuja, Bahia, Brazil? Like, well done, Brazil.
Yeah,
Lots going
Brazil
on
is
out there.
killing it with Luca. So Luca, the organizer of SatConf, that is basically I
Ah,
think 2 or 3 days now. He quitted his job at at Lightning Labs,
yeah.
and now he's like fully focused to help Brazil. So he organized and created 12 bit dev, I think, or eight. So there's eight bit dev across Brazil. There's a giant community of developers there. And for instance, like I think this weekend we're organizing a liquid boot camp to teach developers, and we
Wow.
have more than 100 people that have submitted and applied. So there is a very big community there, and Luca is doing an amazing job to federate them and give them um, the right ground to grow. See, all of those
Yeah.
small one is amazing.
I mean, that's yeah. I mean, I also just forget how damn big Brazil is. What
Yeah,
a huge
Brazil is very
nation,
big.
hey?
Yeah.
It's like African countryside, absolutely huge. And like,
What
in
is
the
it?
middle of
300
the
million now?
yeah, like in the middle of the bush, or the Amazon rather, there are
The pushes.
these communities. And like, I'd never heard of these places before in my life, and yet there they are doing their thing. Very cool to see. Is there somewhere in the world you'd love to see a community start?
Ah, um,
North Korea, maybe. Let's check it
maybe
just
there
in
is one.
case.
Check it. No, there isn't. Now, honestly, I really appreciate that for the past 1 year or two, India is really getting together to some
Mhm.
degree with Pleb Strong together. There's now 7 meetups in India. So it's funny, like you think India, 1 billion people, billion two, 7 meetups. France, like 70. Germany, 180. So India is starting to pick up. Pleb Strong together do an amazing job with Aaron and Bichella too.
Mhm.
And so I'm quite bullish on India. And I don't know about North Korea. I don't think we have anything in North Korean
Well,
yet.
there's the Sea of Korea, which is pretty close. Let's check those guys out. Show us tab instead. So, oh, the Sea of Korea is the entire
Yeah,
Korean
it's
populace.
peninsula of Korea, so it's cheating. We've
Okay.
tried to remove those.
Yeah, fair enough. But they have a whole Twitter page which I can't translate, but this is they seem to be sharing stuff. I can see the word self custody and bitax and things. So clearly they are doing something. They're celebrating a solar miner mining a block, and they're talking about core versus knots in Korea. This is so
See,
cool.
this is how you get it.
What on earth is this? Someone's explaining how to use Bitcoin knots in Korean.
Yeah, actually,
Crazy.
we have the tutorial on how to do big gunners in Korean, so that's how it helps, because
Yeah.
if you're a small country or a language that is not as massive as English or French or Spanish, it's hard to get good quality content. It's really hard to find content in your local language
Mm.
because there's just no YouTuber. And even if there were a couple of YouTubers, they would have no time to do every single tutorial about every single things about the Bitcoin space. And so that's why we see for us a lot of adoption in South Asia. It's because we're bringing them Bitcoin only content and
Mm.
they love it.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at
Bitcoin
Bitcoin
Bali
Bali,
is massive too. I mean, Neo there is killing it.
yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, I know that, for example,
Bob
Jimmy
Space
Castro
too in
in
Thailand.
Chiang Mai does a lot. Bob Space in Thailand. Yeah, I mean, the comment you said about Jack Dorsey funding a lot of these projects, like if we go to Africa, I reckon that, yeah, Cowries, Jack Dorsey, Abidjan, Bitcoin Meetup, probably help from Jack Dorsey, Bitcoin
Yeah, for
Mountain.
us, so Bitcoin Benin is kind of us.
Benin, you're in Benin. Okay, I
Yeah,
mean, that
well, in
is,
Benin we have and right now we just finished the Bitcoin Dakar conference. I think you
it's
joined it like a
Senegal.
couple of years ago.
I
Yeah,
went to the first one, yeah.
yeah, I remember. So we just finished the second one literally yesterday
Wow.
or
And how'd it
third one.
go?
Really good. I'm waiting for debrief, but basically what we do there is like, yeah, we organize the hackathon there.
Yeah.
So it was like the Bitcoin Dakar hackathon.
Uh-huh.
Uh, it's those small initiative exploded that will make it truly decentralized.
Yeah. Oh, someone is asking for a link to the map. So it's btcmap.org, sorry. And then when you're on BTC Map itself,
Yeah,
you
you
want
need
to
to
go
find
to,
communities, community map.
yeah. I think you can just go onto the map and then filter by communities. Let me see if I can do it that way instead.
No, they don't have that.
My YouTube channel is technically sponsored by, it's not sponsored, but like they're an angel in me, whatever that
Uh,
means. They just like me to talk about BTC Map, but don't want to do it in a shilly way. And so I should really know how to filter to communities. I think you can. Right? Let me show you guys how to do it. So I'm going to go share screen again. Here we go. So currently I'm looking at, I don't know where that is. Oh, it's Aruba. So yeah, by the way, like I'm publishing a video this week about Curacao. This is hot off the press, breaking news, guys. And this tiny island of like 200,000 people, there is now 91 merchants and a lot of Bitcoin activity. There's a Bitcoin Faucet, there's a Bitcoin community center, there is a Bitcoin billboard, there is a Bitcoin Miss Universe or Miss Curacao there. A lot going on. Watch the video this week.
Awesome.
But I think that's why my BTC Map opened there. And I think what you can do is you can hit this button here. Yes.
And here you go.
And
Okay, they did make it. Perfect.
So you go home, open map, and then on the left, you've got the options to hit, I guess that's places, and the two people hugging or two people is the community map. So just go to btcmap.org and hit the two people, and then it'll become communities instead. But you can kind of work out where the communities are based on the number of merchants listed. What I really enjoy though is that you've got like 1,500 in the US. Nada for a population as big and as developed as they are, and yet you look at Central Europe and it's 5,500.
Yeah.
So
and you take a very small island and you get 100. See, that's the beauty of it. You need passionate people to make it.
There's your proof. Madeira,
Madeira,
I remember when it was 110 a year ago. So they're still doing well, really well. Not that merchant adoption is the only sign of adoption. There are other ways of doing that, but it's still pretty cool to see. And Tokyo, like, because Japan is a very like post-developed nation, right? It has
Tokyo is it's funny. So there's the hub, Tokyo-based hub. It's a co-working incubator in Tokyo, so it's really cool. I'm gonna actually check it out like soon and try to really work from here for some period.
Wow.
And then there's a conference, second year edition of that conference. There is not a lot of merchant adoption, and also the regulation was very bad against Bitcoin and crypto in general in Japan. They changed it recently, but it's not a very crypto-friendly places to say. Even though there's a lot of developers, so Nicolas Dorsey from BTCP is there. There's a couple of core dev. There's like a lot of startups, builders, and entrepreneurs that live in Tokyo because they love Tokyo. But Bitcoin adoption-wise, it's growing slowly.
It's slow. Okay, interesting. I mean, before we finish this sort of topic of conversation on Bitcoin communities, I just want to share a quick link. I'm going to pin it as a comment. Hello to Zanoni Snowflake. How are you today? I'm posting this as a comment. So it's Plan B Network and then create a Bitcoin community. And then if I show this tab, you can see how easy it is to easily create and organize a Bitcoin community in your local area. So all you have to do to create a Bitcoin community, and I encourage you to do so, if you are feeling a bit bored at work and you've seen the price go high and you're thinking, this Bitcoin thing has been good to me, well, now you can give back as well. You can set up a Bitcoin community, follow this course on Plan B Network. We can go on it together. For example, Bitcoin's been growing relentlessly since 2009, blah, 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 blah. Read all this, and we're going to click through, complete the chapter, move on to the next one. And we're going to answer the question, why start a Bitcoin community or meetup? So you do this over 6 or 7 hours, and that will give you the groundwork, the foundations to then build your own local Bitcoin community wherever you are in the world. So you can then feature on this one app, and you can put your on.
It's actually funny. The guy, a guy in Tanzania, he did that courses, and then he created 30 communities in Tanzania, and Orange built like a ton of merchant. Like I think he's at 80 merchant, and like some people just need the little push. Help understand they're not alone, understand that even if you're just 3 people at your first meetup, it's okay. How to do marketing because they're not entrepreneur, how to manage the Telegram group, how to chill it, how to create a logo using AI, all of those steps that seems complicated, we just like help you guide it, and then you have like at least you are part of a bigger movement, and that's what people need, just a little push to start it.
It's wild. I mean, even in Burundi, so Burundi is it one of the poorest countries in the world per like GDP per capita?
It's possible, but those guys did Bitcoin to some degree more than you do and I do. Well, you're in the UK, so yeah, you're gonna get spoiled from everything. And I'm in communist France, so same. I will get to stolen everything, but they already have nothing, and so they need to defend themselves, and that's super important.
Yeah, it's wild, hey? We had a question in the chat regarding New Zealand. Let's see if there's anything cracking over there.
I don't know about New Zealand. I never heard a lot about it. Met a couple of guys, but it's so far away from everything to some degree.
You have Bitcoin
That
Basin, that's quite a cool name. You have the New Zealand Bitcoiners.org. Then you have BitKiwi, great name.
yeah,
And then, yeah. So, and then if we look at the merchants, is that how we switch back? That is how we switch back. We're going to go back over to New Zealand. The map is an open source and free to use project, so it's a little bit slow sometimes, but bear with it. Oh, we've got some merchants, you know. I mean, 9 in Wellington, not amazing. I guess this is Auckland down here. No, that's not Auckland. That's Queenstown. 30 in Queenstown. Like, yeah, you could perhaps do some content down there about it. You could maybe live on Bitcoin to an extent. And then likewise, there are 20 based in Auckland. I've never been to New Zealand before in my life.
it's really good, dude. Honestly, if one time you can go, it's an amazing country.
Wow, it just feels so far from everything. I know that's a very dumb thing to say, but it is. But there you go. Like, this is proof. This map is proof. These communities are proof that you can travel on Bitcoin all around the world. You know, you can go to Burundi, you can go to New Zealand, you can go to Chile, Argentina, Peru, United States, France, etc. You can go to all these places, meet Bitcoiners, use Bitcoin as money, and, you know, do it tax-free. Didn't hear that from me, though. I'm definitely kidding there. Okay, so I mean, Jeffrey Waldron is watching, and he's like, I want to go to New Zealand. Me too, mate. Me too, mate. Bit of an expensive flight, but there you go. So yeah, and then we've got an inspirational quote from Yobi, who just hit the bong, and he said, Bitcoin stands as the ember of autonomy, a flame lit by the people, not to burn, but to warm the cold corners of injustice. That was our rip from the bong comment of the day. Okay, moving on from BTC Map and from communities and Plan B Network, let's talk Europe. You just mentioned, you know, France is going communist. Portugal has swung like right-wing-ish. I mean, it's really weird to call these things right and left anymore because they're all so convoluted and confusing. Do you think that Europe is fucked? And if you think it's fucked, are we still fucked even though we have Bitcoin? Bit of a deep question there.
Yeah. So I think it is fucked. I think we are in the down spiral, and it's going to be a very long time until it collapses. Hopefully sooner than later, but it's going to be hard to move around. Brussels is too big, too involved everywhere. The euro is the last hope. They will never let it go. They will use the next crisis to push the euro, and we will end up with a global hyperinflation, rise of populism, and then at that point it will break apart. But it's going to be a long journey. Bitcoin can save you, but it's also at a risk. The adoption will be low and underground. They are going to regulate. You will need to find peer-to-peer market merchant to accept. You need to watch your privacy. As you saw in France, maybe recently we had a lot of physical attack. So even the climate of personal safety is getting kind of bad in France. So I'd say that it will save us. It will save you. Probably you should study it. It will save some of your savings from the hands of the government that's going to take it. But it will come at a cost. It will come at a cost to be prepared, to run the right software, to make some sacrifice, maybe to leave, to secure yourself, to lie to some degree. But I'm so happy we have Bitcoin. At least there's some hope. And at least if we remain here to fight, there's a tool that we can use. And that tool will be used by the right and the left, by everyone over the different phase of dictatorship that we're going to have in the next 20 years, whatever.
Yes, when I came into Bitcoin, I thought, like, this is the panacea. This is the savior. I use this, everything gets better. And to some extent it did, but the world is also getting increasingly worse. Like, you know, you touch on a lot of things, digital euro, digital ID, CBDCs. I mean, there was a quick question from Lautu about that. He says, when is Plan C Network going to release its Plan CBDC website? Never. Yeah. It was a joke, don't worry, but I just thought it'd be fun to share. The point being that, yeah, it's getting increasingly dark, and CBDCs are on the horizon. This digital euro is on the horizon. It's looking a bit bleak. Bitcoin is certainly one of the tools you need to use to make your life a bit better. thank God for Bitcoin. But yeah, I'm also sort of looking at Europe more and more and being like, is this a space I want to eventually raise kids? Is this a space I want to, really put roots down into, or are there better countries where I'd be better served? And I think that's the other thing. It's the thesis of the sovereign individual, right? A book
Yeah.
which is often shared by lots of Bitcoiners. Like, we should treat countries as companies and as service providers, where we are. Oh, you've got it next to you. There you go. I don't know why it's not in focus, but there you go. Now it's in focus. This book, The Sovereign Individual, written by something Rees-Mogg. Great book to read and to sort of prepare you for the 21st century and the change that we're experiencing. But yeah, Bitcoin is definitely one of the tools. What else would you recommend though?
That is actually funny. So at that point, because we have so many courses, I would say take the courses on computer security. So we teach them on privacy, but not Bitcoin related. So I would say try to use Graphene OS. Obviously, don't run a shitty VPN. Use a good one. Pay non-KYC Bitcoin. Try to figure out how to manage all your password and all your email. Really try to separate yourself from the GAFAM. Try to run your own servers, encrypt stuff, learn those basic tools of communication that will make you more sovereign, not just for your money, but also how you use it and how you interact in your life. Because they can cut you from many, many things. Sure, Bitcoin will give you some degree of freedom when it comes to cutting you from your money. But like there's a lot of different layers into your freedom. Communication is one of them. Money is communication, but it's on, let's say, another layer of it. Moving, being able to have two visa or two passports. So it's something we're called Plan B, but we are not Plan B, the citizen Plan B. But having two passports is for sure something people are looking into nowadays. Yeah, I would say data encryption is kind of important, etc., etc. So it's going to be a long ride. Privacy or even self-sovereignty is not just one click, get a ledger, buy KYC, and you're done. No, actually, that's pretty far away from it is. And you can do it step by step. So that's why we have not just one. We don't believe we have one course is do it all. Like it's not, yeah, you do Bitcoin 101, you do that course, it's 3 hours and it's done. You know everything. It's like, no, actually, you will need to study for a very long time before you get your change of mind that allow you to basically break some mental barrier that was so deeply engraved into you that you first need to say, okay, I'm being spied. Okay, my money is shit. Okay, my money is in a shitty bank. Okay, my country can rob me. I need another country to exit if needed. And all of those steps takes years to develop all the way to where you will be in a couple of years, or maybe you are already watching us from a paradise island and you have solved all the problem of your life, but not everyone
I
has.
think I think there are some of those people. If you're tuning in from Thailand or a Bali, like you're
Yeah,
pretty close,
yeah,
because
of course.
you are less and less dependent on external forces and external powers. Okay, so we had another question here, which was, when do you think we'll start talking about Bitcoin in Sats terms instead of $108,000 per coin? I think
We
we
do.
already do, to an extent. Like, it depends on which circles you're in, but if you're on Zoster, if you're on Noster, you are already. I don't know if people are on Noster, but if you are, it's very common to zap people small amounts of Bitcoin or Sats, and people, talk about 100 Sats, 2,000 Sats as if it is a thing.
Yeah.
Given that
Even
Bitcoin is a stablecoin, go ahead, Roxy. Sorry.
no, I would say even 4,000 sats. Like for me, 4,000 sats is a beer, and I know that if I'm at the Bitcoin conference, it's basically 1 to 1, if I 1 to 1,000, and so I'm like, all right, so my beer is gonna be 3,000 sats, 6,000 sats, and it's so much easier. Like no one is ever gonna say 0.0 whatever. I don't even know how many zero. It would be like 5 or 4. So we use sats when it comes to basic usage. When I reload my EVPN paying sats, I know I'm going to put 2,000 sats, sometimes 10,000. When I
Which
buy
VPN
my
do you use? Which VPN? Do you use Proton or do you use
now EVPN,
eVPN? Ooh, let's have a look at this. Okay. eVPN. Just E, the letter E, then VPN?
yeah, E and then VPN.
Okay. Because I use Proton and it doesn't have Lightning yet. eVPN.
EVPN has no account, full Lightning, super fast, very very good.
Okay, let's do Bitcoin. Is it E as an I?
Yeah, it's that one. I gave
Ah,
you a link here. Is that one?
Roxy, your French accent has distracted me. I thought you meant
I am sorry.
I.
Also, I have no throat.
Don't worry, I'm just being cheeky. Okay, so nice. This is cool. Generate private keys, copy private keys, select server and duration, pay with Lightning, paste your private key. Learn something new today. And it works well. Are you using a
Yeah,
VPN right now?
probably. Let me check. Tak. Not right now, but I
Okay.
have it on my phone all the time. I usually use it. So I would say it works really well. And I know the guys. They did quite a lot of conferences back in the day. They're dedicated.
Mm,
Uh, I mean, Proto is always a good choice, but it's
yeah. It's not because Proton doesn't have Lightning yet. So what I do is I'll top up with some Bitcoin periodically, and then when it rinses through all the Bitcoin, I've got to top it up again. But yeah, it's on chain. It's not as good. So someone is saying I use Mulvad.
yeah,
Mulvad,
mobile is good
they
too.
use Bitcoin, don't they? Oh, look, this is great news, guys. Mulvad accept Bitcoin Cash. Hooray! I didn't know that. I just typed in Mulvad Bitcoin and it came up with that. But they also accept. Do they accept Bitcoin? They do. They accept
There's
Bitcoin.
also LNVPN. Probably you maybe know it.
I have tried LNVPN before. Yeah,
It's
and
harder, I guess.
yeah. So there are different ways of doing it. We had okay. I'm aware that we are sort of just answering random questions now. We're losing a bit of structure, but that's okay. Let's get. Are you okay to go for another couple of minutes, Roxy? We'll stop
Yeah,
at half
sure.
past.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
Because you can ask Roxy anything. This is a good thing. So the next question is, what's the best iOS Bitcoin wallet that has Lightning? Interesting. Are you an I think you're an Android user, no?
Yeah, I'm a Graphene user, so I use Graphene. But I don't know about iOS. I would say like the best wallets nowadays are still Phoenix by
Mm,
far, and then the new generation wallet like Bull Bitcoin and Aqua are pretty good because they are kind of moving quite heavily on
mm,
the tech sides, making the experience kind of good. Aqua has USDT, so if you're traveling around the world, it's useful. Bull Bitcoin is very clean too. It really depends on the usage. But Phoenix is, if you want to use only Bitcoin, Phoenix is probably the best to go to. And if you have
mm,
very low amount and you don't care, just use Wallet of Satoshi as a burn phone. Just fucking
mm.
take Wallet of Satoshi. You don't create an account and then you burn the app and restart the app every time you want to do like a privacy reset.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. It depends on what you're into. Like personally, like I do really like Phoenix. However, it
Yeah, Bull
is
Bitcoin is getting good.
and it is expensive. Like it does
Yeah,
cost you 0.4%. It's got very easy UX. Like it looks like this, super easy to use. And yeah, there's dark mode as well. It's great. But then recently I started using Bull Bitcoin Wallet, and oh
hmm
my God, this thing is great. And then I was working through it, and I realized that it's basically the same as Aqua.
yeah,
And then I learned that it's because Bull Bitcoin made it open source, and Aqua basically just took the code and went yoink, and they've sort of built Aqua the same way that you see Bull Bitcoin. So that is the nature of open source. You can get people stealing your work. It's not stealing though, is it? It's just
yeah. It's and now I think Bull Bitcoin is pushing with Arc because Francis
yes, yeah.
was
I've got art
at
in my wallet.
our. We did a Arc day during the Plan B weeks, so it was Arcadia doing it. Francis was
Mm,
here, developing live the new features. So I think it was pushed. See, that's what that space is growing, is that there is a continuous improvement. And when we were
mm,
talking about privacy, see, we don't have so much privacy main chain, but if you use Bitcoin, they try to do it for you. So the privacy by default is kind of niche in our ecosystem, but it's getting there, and Bull Bitcoin is a good example. Aqua 2 is pretty private, so those guys are doing a good job.
Okay. Interestingly, Jeffrey Walton couldn't get the Bull wallet on iOS to work. That is strange, Jeffrey. I literally downloaded it on not this Saturday, but the previous Saturday at Lugano because I met with the founders of Bull Bitcoin and they were like, try this. And I did, and it was great. So I don't know why that is. Probably reach out to them online. And then,
Actually,
okay,
yeah.
last couple of questions. Someone said, Joe, I've never heard your Bitcoin story, any interview. I don't know if I'd have any interviews about that, but I'll happily share it maybe I'll make a video about it. And then the last question was about your opinion and book recommendation on figuring out the best country to move to for the future. Ooh, that is a tricky one.
Yeah.
Uh,
So book, I don't know. I would say try to figure out what you want to do in your life. So probably like that will be a good start. So there's a lot of book. Maybe Daniel Prince is a good book to start. And then opinion. It really depends what you want. Do you like island? Do you want big land? Do you want the language to be coherent? Do you want sun, not sun? Are you moving with kids? No kids? Like all of those questions will basically make you your path of living, and then how much tax are you willing to spend, how much time you are supposed to spend in that country, how easy is it to do the paperwork. So all of those extradition like paperwork and thought is what you really need to figure it out in yourself before making any decision. So honestly, do a big life retrospection of you at that point. I would say that that is the best you can do.
It's a very good advice there. I think ultimately it's a question of travel as well.
Yeah.
Like try before you buy. Make sure you spend a couple of weeks, ideally a month, in a target country before you decide to pull the trigger. Because a week you can be honeymooning, 2 weeks you
Yeah.
can start to notice a few cracks, and at 4 weeks you realize, oh my god, I hate the way this country does X, and it's one of my core values. I can't compromise on that, so I'm not going to go. Or not going to stay there rather. And I know a lot of people, for example, that move to Portugal and they don't like the way that Portuguese people drive, which is totally fine. They drive like crazy people. And after 6 months and having kids and realizing that most people are drunk behind the wheel on a Friday evening and a Saturday evening, they're like, I can't do this anymore. I'm moving back to Sweden or whatever it is. And I see that a lot. Likewise with the UK, you might move there from France or Italy, and after 3 months, you're like, I can't do this anymore. The food is shit, and you've got to go back.
El Salvador too. Like if
El Salvador,
you
the
go
food
to El
is
Salvador,
bang.
spend there, go there many months, like at
Yeah,
least 1 or 2, like you said, and you will see that maybe that country is not right fit for your culture.
yeah. Well,
And there's so
I'm
many
going to say it
options,
publicly.
honestly.
The El Salvadoran food, I fucking love pupusas. Okay, I think they're brilliant. But after 6 months, you're like, come on, like what else is there? There's not a huge amount of variety, so bear that in mind. It's not, El Salvador is not a foodie paradise, put it that way. You're not going there to eat good food, and I say that as a Brit who had bad food. Britain does not have great food. I mean, unless you want a roast or you want really good bacon. We're not known for amazing food. I'm saying this to a Frenchie, for God's sake. Like, they have some of the best food in the world. This is how it is. Okay, it's coming to 12:30, and I've got to. Someone saying merci pour découvrir Bitcoin. Ah bah voilà, t'as un pote dans le chat. Très bien.
Pleasure.
So thank you so much for those guys in the live stream. Really kind of you to hang out with me today. If you are interested in checking out Rogsy's work, his handle is Découvre Bitcoin. It's still that, right?
Yeah, I still use that one. I've never did my personal brand, but yeah, check it out. I said that Plan B Academy. So Joe, we did fork the website. So now Plan B Network explain what we do with institution, hubs around the world, university, communities, and Plan B Academy is basically the e-learning platform completely remastered with a better UX and more focus. So if you click start learning, basically, you will be sent to the new website that. Yeah, it should work. If it doesn't, I have to kill someone right after that call. And so, yeah, please go learn, go contribute, do stuff. And if you want advanced education, in January, we're going to start the B School and the Tech School, our yearly annual program. So you can apply. There will be some discount code if you type Nakamoto, for example. That's the discount code. And feel free to join it. Did you press start learning? Didn't work, or you didn't press it?
Beautiful. And go and set up your first Bitcoin node. Do it over here. Super easy stuff. Okay.
Okay, we don't see your screen. Okay, that's why.
Oh, my bad. I was showing the wrong tab the whole time. Damn it. You see my screen now?
Yeah, I can see it.
My bad. I was on the. I was trying to show the Plan B Network website. Oh, it's because I clicked through from start learning, didn't I? We're all fine. Sorry, I'm still making the odd mistake here. Can I repost the link to Plan B Academy? Yes, I can.
Plan B Academy. I think it's easier so people start being confused and the learning experience is smoother.
There you go. planb.network/academy. But the main thing is just planb.network.
Yeah, cool. And you will figure it out. Okay. Thank you, Joe, for having me. Thank you, everyone, for sticking by, and keep stacking, keep learning.
Exactly. Do what you love and save in Bitcoin. That is Rogsy. Thank you so much, everyone. This is Roxom TV. Go check out Découvre Bitcoin. Go check out planb.network. Go check out Bitcoin. It's a pretty cool thing. Thanks so much. Have a lovely day. And I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. British time, 11 a.m. French time. Do what you love and save in Bitcoin. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Going to end the stream there.